Alhamdulillah. Basically, I'm able, discuss to share some of our experience, in integrating Naqli knowledge, in using. So hopefully, there will be some benefit, and this really can be based, for our discussion tomorrow morning. I'm sure, with these type of qualifications, it can be applicable, to Nigeria scenario as well. So Tazizul basically has given us, very good perspective, about, the what you call it, the needs, for the integration of Naqli and Aqli knowledge, and how we supposed to move forwards, And basically, after listening, to your talk this morning, I feel a little nervous because I noticed that based on what you have presented, I think the expectation actually is much bigger than what I expect. So because I'm the newly appointed, vice chancellor of this university, so it's kind of like it's big burden, that we need to hold, and it's a kind of amanah that we need to try to implement this, and hopefully this can be, model in the future. Before I start, I like to make a kind of declarations. Actually, my background is chemistry. It's pure chemistry. So integration of Naqli and Aqli actually require more than a chemist. That's why, I need help, from one of our experts here, Professor Dr. Roshan Jalani. He's one of our experts in the integration of Naqli, and he's here. If you can raise your hand. Yeah. So, when we talk about integration of Naqli and Aqli knowledge, maybe I have no problem with the Aqli knowledge. Okay, but in Naqli knowledge, you need to have a very good knowledge, about Quran, about Hadith, about which ayah that you need to integrate, and how you're going to basically digest, the information that you get from the Naqli sources. So in this case, surely you can work alone, and then you use somebody who will be expert in this area. And in this case, in UC Alhamdulillah, we have both, the lecturers from the Naqli background and also lecturers, from the Aqli background. So basically, once we combine, basically we have, the required expertise needed in order for us, to do, the integration. So first of all, I would like to start, my presentation by highlighting, about the white-collar crimes. I think we heard about this before, and the concept of white-collar crimes being introduced in 1939 by sociologist Edwin Sutherland. And basically, according to him, the white-collar crime, referring to a crime committed by a person of respectability and high social status in the course of his occupations. So meaning, white crime or white-collar crime, this will be committed, by somebody who are really very educated. Okay? So basically, the idea I just want to highlight, having education alone, without, what you call it, the character part, the one that we discussed this morning, at least not enough, because that's going to make, our what you call it, the people that is not balanced, in the sense that they have some knowledge, okay, in one hand, or that they have the lack of, character needed in order for them, to be honest, trustworthy, okay, and having a high integrity when performing, their jobs. So by definition, white-collar crime refers to financially motivated, non-violent crime committed by business and government professionals. Okay. So, and some of the criminal activities include, the bribery, insider trading, cybercrime, copyright infringement, money laundering, and so on. Okay? So if you see from from this diagram here, okay, you will see the pyramid, okay, more or less. So the number is very high when you come to the falsification of the original documents, and then it's going getting smaller, and when you go to the basically the higher end, where it's going to involve with the specific group of people. Okay, I mean for them to commit this crime. Right. And if you look at the statistic here, well, basically this is just merely some statistics I just grabbed from the internet just to show us how serious the white collar crimes. I mean these the basic categories in 2008, and as you can see from here, the white collar crime will consist of about 17%. Okay, so that's about 20%. So nearly about 1/5 of the total crime which has been recorded actually is under this white collar crime category. And if you look at the detailed perspective, you zoom in, you will see for the percentage of all white collar crimes, you will see the biggest percentage will go to basically the credit card fraud, about 32.2%, and some unnecessary repairs. I don't know, this will consist about 34.5%. I think these two these two activities alone is going to be more or less slightly more than 60%. Okay. Right. Okay. With that brief introductions and statistics that we had, okay. Now maybe we go to another something that we need to ponder. This is a book that has been published by Professor Harry Lewis, from Harvard University, and this was published in 2006. And the title is "Excellent Without a Soul." Professor Harry Lewis, he was more than 30 years old at this university, and he was the dean of Harvard College for 8 years. So I just extract some of the gist from the book. One from the author perspective, and second from the reviewer perspective. If you can see from here, what been highlighted by the author, while striving to be unsurpassed in the quality of its faculty and students, the university have forgotten that the fundamental purpose of undergraduate education is to turn young people into adults who will take responsibility for society. So this is something which is missing. At the end of the day, the graduates from this university, they might be able to find, to secure a very good job in the society, but they might, overlook, their responsibility towards their society. And some comment from the reviewer. If you look at the history of higher education, you would see a clear decline in moral education. Colleges and universities of the past were tied very close with the church. Thus, more teaching came directly from the church teaching. So basically, in fact, in the past, they have a combination between the education or the academic together with some teaching from the church. So basically this combination of the character aspect as well as the academic. But as time progressed, the connection between higher education and church decreases. Okay? So this is the problem that we face at the moment. And in many ways the university has deviated from its original goals. The curriculum from 17th century would be completely alien to professors and students today. So if you reflect, the comments, from the reviewer of this book, and maybe the statement, from the author himself, okay, we will see, that even in the West, despite, they are already established in higher education, okay, but still they still having the problem. Okay, they still feel the missing part of the education, which is no soul at all. Okay. So I think looking at the aspect, so we feel that it's basically our duty. In fact, in Islam, okay, we know that education should come together with the good character that we need to nurture to the student. Meaning, when the student come to school, we not only teach them with the academic aspect, but also we need to come together with the character, with the good character and ethics. Okay, secular educations. I think secular is something that we well aware about this, and this is something that we already live with it. In the past few years when we are in our schooling time, So if you look at this secular, at the word secular itself, basically this word that has been derived from Latin word, called seculum, which convey a meaning, a marked dual connotation of time and location. So the time basically referring to the now and presence, actual locations, referring to the location to the world or worldly sense of it. Meaning they are referring, to the current present and in this world only. So meaning the idea of introducing secular, basically they try, to separate, between religion, as well as, other part of life. So when we refer to secular education, basically, we're talking about the separation between religion and also the state. So the religion matters will be conducted, by the priest, if talking about church, for instance. And the state will be run by certain of people, and they will not really bother or take into account anything related to religion in their daily affairs. Okay, maybe an example of secular education system is the French public education system, where certain issues being highlighted a few years back, whereby Muslim students they were not allowed to wear scarf, when they attended the school and so on. We come again to the knowledge formulations. In this case, this is something has been highlighted by Professor Tansisul just now. When we aware that everything more or less has been designed by the West, and we have no opportunity at all, in the design of the education system, and we just merely follow what they offer to us. So Western world in their formulation of knowledge, they will concentrate merely upon rational proof and evidence. So everything needs to be tied up, with evidence and also proof. And all other evidence are regarded as uncertain and therefore unverifiable. As a result, this will lead towards the reliance on reason as the primary basis for formulation of knowledge, and content of knowledge is limited to what reason renders to the scholars. Meaning, we will only consider knowledge. We're going to formulate knowledge when there is a scenario whereby we can relate them with reasonable evidence or proof. So otherwise, this will be considered something else. For instance, maybe in the science discipline, maybe much easier for us to understand. So everything, if you can provide evidence in the lab, and then maybe your theory can be proven, and from that you can develop further to become technology and so on. Okay, as a result, basic knowledge is shaped via worldviews alien to Islam and also religions. Okay, this is something which has been highlighted by Naqli, okay, this morning. Okay, because worldview actually according to their views, according to their norms, you know. So as a result, we just follow whatever has been designed, okay, for them. I mean, for us by them. So since this happened, so we will notice that a lot of cases, okay, whereby you know the framework which has been designed as this against, you know, the Islamic aspect of the religion understanding. So this is where maybe we need to come out, you know, from the norm and try to come out with our own design, okay, in order for us, you know, to be different, okay, from them. Okay, next I go to a very brief introduction about what is integration. Basically, based on our experience in using integration, is not a simple, it's not simply combining A plus B and that came across as integration, but it's more a way of thinking, and it's more on how we perceive knowledge. In this case, actually, we focusing, we're talking about Islamic worldview. Okay, so for instance, we have you know, our source of Naqli knowledge that come from the Quran, you know, come from the Hadith, and maybe some of the Islamic manuscript. So when you have, you know, all these sources, you need to extract, and then when you extract, okay, you need to know exactly, you know, the words, you know, what the values behind it. You should be able to interpret the principle and so on. Before finally we'll be able to integrate with our knowledge that we have. And the reason why integration of Naqli and Aqli is important, why we should be what should be important with the integration of Naqli and Aqli knowledge. Apart from the reason, okay, basically to make Islamic knowledge and sciences, okay, relevant. At the moment, if you learn science subject on its own, okay, sometimes we will get bored easily, okay, simply because, okay, we feel that, you know, by doing some experiment in the lab, you know, so we are not close enough, okay, to Islam, we are not close enough to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, because that's it. Okay, we will get some results, and we want to analyze the result and so on. What happened? What's going to happen next? Okay, we don't know about it. But if we combine that, if we can integrate, you know, with some knowledge, with some maybe Naqli knowledge from the Quran, for instance, you know, from the Hadith, then we'll be able, you know, to relate, you know, what our finding from what's available in the Quran, and that's going to make, you know, our finding more interesting. And even by doing some experiment in the lab, we will feel, you know, well, Allah is great, and we feel closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, because the finding itself is going to bring us closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Apart from that, okay, integration is necessary, okay, to revive and enlighten the tradition and the intellectual success of our past knowledge and sciences. I think we aware, you know, during the Farabi's time, Ibn Sina and so on, they are all basically, you know, undergone this, what you call integration of Naqli knowledge. I mean, because of, they are a good philosophers, you know, they are imam. They were also basically, you know, is good chemists, you know, a scientist and so on. And it's simply because of they look, you know, knowledge as one single thing, and not, you know, this something which is Islam and the other part is non-Islam and so on. And integration is also necessary for us to Islamize ungodly worldview and deviant conceptions, especially if we focus on the nature of man, the ethical implication and moral values. Okay, for instance, if you are aware, you know, about the theory of apes, you know, where some scientists believe, okay, that man actually appears or basically wujud because of, you know, I mean, some evolution, you know, from the apes, and suddenly, you know, it's become, you know, the generation of men. Something which is against what we have, you know, in the Quran. So we need to Islamize, you know, this kind of, you know, thinking in order, you know, to correct them, and in order for our generation to really appreciate and to have the better information if you do the integration. Apart from that, to filter the knowledge derived from secular framework, like I have been highlighted just now, to add Western knowledge and sciences by developing them with suitable norms and values for our people. Apart from that, actually to produce and other persons, we're talking about akhlaq, okay? We're talking about, educated person, at the same time they have, the good character and a good adab. And we also need to do the integrations in order for us to achieve the Tawhidic understanding on the relation of knowledge in terms of methodology, a subject and also object. Okay, it is very important. Okay, as we, once we do the integrations, okay, we will understand, the Islam, okay, better. And basically, the Tawhidic understanding, okay, is very important in order to protect us, from some other things, that might going, to jeopardize our iman. Okay, sources of integration. I think clearly the sources come from the Quran, okay, from the Hadith and Islamic texts like manuscript, old manuscript, and so on. And some essential principle in integrations. I'm going to go very quickly in this, but later on, if you have maybe some questions, I will let Dr. Roshan, okay, to maybe to brief you a bit. Because it's some of the basic principle or exemplars, very important principle that we need to have, okay, in order for us, to do the integrations. These are some of the part, okay, that we really need, okay, somebody with Islamic background, okay, to help us, okay, especially if you come, from science background, okay, like myself, or maybe some other backgrounds. So we need basically to work in a team, okay, in order for us to do the integration. Because in the case of USIM, I think we are the only university who have this integration, so we have no template, okay, we have no experience, we have nobody to learn from. Okay? So basically, we try to do our best to design, our own integration, of the Naqli, of the program that we have. So the principal one, the Tawhidic worldview, basically to understand the description about God, His perfect qualities and nature, the belief in His unity of essence, attributes, names and act, and the proper recognition and submission of Him as Ilah and not as a rock. So this maybe, to people, like myself, maybe it look like, about philosophical, but it's something which is very important, to our Tawhid, and we need to really understand about this. And apart from that, actually it's important for God consciousness, okay? The feeling on the presence and closeness of God. Okay? This may look very, very general, but this difference needs to be there, in order to inculcate, the feeling on the presence of God, to the students. And the principle two, actually, of the knowledge itself. This basically requires awareness of discussion of knowledge in the Quran and Hadith, and again, this needs somebody who really expert in this case. But eventually, what we foresee in the case of USIM, I think USIM itself is going to produce, our own graduates who already been integrated in terms of, Naqli knowledge. Meaning our graduates from USIM, they should be able, to see the integration, in more general perspective, because they've been born, in this integration of Naqli and Aqli curriculum. Okay, and they should be the one who will be able to see both sides of knowledge, the Aqli and also the Naqli. Apart from that, we need to understand the conceptions of the Islamic science. We should be able to understand the nature and source of knowledge. And we should also understand the method of attaining the true and precise knowledge, and understand the final objective of acquiring knowledge. So as I mentioned earlier, this modern, very philosophical, is about But it is something we need to understand in order for us to do the integration. And I think Prof. Tasrizo at this point have explained about this Sharia and Maqasid Sharia. The same thing, which is this is part of the other principle that we need to know in order for us to what you call it, to be able to do the integration. Maybe I don't have to really highlight this again. And among others, for the Mega Sharia, it is going to involve the protection of religion, life, mind, property, progeny also it has been highlighted by Tansi this morning. And principle 4, the ethics and moral. This principle, among others, consists of the Islamic concept and practices of high moral conduct, the principle of values and also virtues. So I think this has been explained. I think in quite good detail in many books, in many kitabs and so on. And I just want to highlight, the last point that the human soul is the focus of intelligible and equipped with the faculty variously called the spirit or the ruh, the soul or self, the nafs, the heart, and the intellect or the akal. So basically, these are the important components in order for us to develop the ethic and moral among the students. And how are we going to implement the integrations? So once we understand the concept, once we know we understand the Quran, we know which verses or that we're going to extract from the Quran and so on. So basically, we need to understand on how the implementation need to be done. Well, basically, in this case, we need to apply the contextualization of Quranic verses and also the hadith of the Prophet. And this actually need to be done in you need to be very careful, because it's something that we're going to get off the Quran. And I think it's not many of us who are having, the understanding about the Quran. It is something that we need to really do it properly with the expert with the expert in the area of Islamic studies. Among others, we need to integrate the knowledge and Islamic values, instill the Islamic moral values into the modern science and technology, and then unify both theoretical and practical aspect of knowledge. I think later on, when we're going to listen from Dr. Wan, because basically Professor Dr. Wan is going to present the example on how he and his team managed to do the integration for the dentistry program in our university. Maybe we're going to get a very clear picture on it. Okay. So I just very quickly on the UC experience. So before that, I just because I think our friends from Nigeria, these are their first music to use it. I just go very quickly about music, some of the brief numbers about music. So at the moment, you see very slightly, almost about 12,000 students. We have about 64 programs, including 25 undergraduate programs, 5 programs at the intermediate level or equivalent to A level, and 30 programs at the postgraduate level. So together there are about 64 active programs. Apart from that, actually we also having the Permata Insan student here. We have about 306. For information, Permata Insan actually is a special program in UC. This is a part of our commitment in order to make the seamless education, which can involve integration of Naqli and Aqli. Okay? So basically, the student actually is properly selected, and it's done by special instrumentation, special instruments. And the student actually is required to have an IQ minimum of 150 and above. Okay? So the student will be taught at the age of 8 years old, and they will come to UC twice a year to attend, the summer camp. And when they reach 13 years old, okay, they're going to come to UC okay, because we're going to have our school in the campus. Okay. So the first batch of the students were to come to USIM on the 17th of January. Okay. So they're going to undergo our special program, and this program also being properly designed, and this also includes integration of Naqli and Aqli. Okay. Apart from that, for the postgrad students, we're having 1,274, 46% of them actually pursuing PhD, 47.5% pursuing master's degree. At the moment we have 810 students, international students, many come from Libya. And number of faculty, we have 8 faculties, and we can be considered as focus as well as comprehensive universities, okay? Because basically we offer almost all active programming available in most universities. Number of staff, we have nearly 1,500, okay? And alumni slightly more than 9,000, and we have also 6 Center of Excellence, and at the moment we have 2 professional chairs, one in leadership in Islam, and Constantizo is the chairholder at the moment, and the other one is Islamic finance and banking. Right, I just highlight what is being highlighted, by Dr. Asma this morning. If you want to see the future of country, look at the youth. If their character is good, then the country will flourish. But if they lack character, then the country has no future. Basically, support, what we seem trying to do, okay, because we've been, in the effort of integrating the Aqli knowledge for the past 14 years, okay? But we really intensified our effort for the last, I would say, 3 years, okay? Even though we are already having this, for the past 14 years, but our effort, we intensified our effort for the past 4 years, okay? So meaning before that, we just again really try to build the foundations, particularly because firstly we have been as a university college, and then we've been promoted to become full-fledged university in 2007. So our niche area, the niche of the university is basically integration of Naqli knowledge. Okay, that's one good thing about this university. In fact, make it clear. In fact, our niche in the first place is actually focusing on the integration of Naqli knowledge. Meaning, any activities that we're going to do, whether it is a kind of, the academic program that we're going to have, or maybe the training that we're going to conduct, or maybe the research that we're going to do, we always try to integrate, the Naqli knowledge together. And the word of Naqli and Aqli will appear, in our philosophy of the university, in the vision and the mission of the university as well. Okay, the one that highlighted in red, okay, basically highlighting the integration of Naqli and Aqli. So meaning, no matter who's going to be the vision of this university, okay, they need to have this agenda in running the university, because it's already there, in the philosophy. Unless if the university is going to change the philosophy, which is not that easy to be done. And the objective of the USIM, at the moment we are the only public university where Islamic system of knowledge is addressed in all its academic programs, reviving the Islamic Renaissance. That's part of our objective. So we really commit ourselves again in order to materialize this. UC academic programs are designed to produce graduates who are able to meet the demands of various industries, profession, and then this is also supposed to profession in Arabic and also in English, and well versed in the soft skill. UC is unique in the sense that we are offering double major academic program from variety of fields. I'm going to highlight some of the example soon. UC has a good blend of local and international academic staff. This actually we do it in purpose in order to create environments. So actually UC plan to have about 20% of its academic staff come from outside Malaysia. Talking about the integration of Naqli, we also take into account when we design the campus. You can see from here, the moment when you enter our main campus, the guard post is somewhere here. So the moment you enter the campus, you are facing the Qibla. Okay, you are facing the Qibla. And I think about few seconds, from the guard post, okay, you will see here the Iqra, the icon that we put in the roundabout there. Okay, and Iqra, is actually the first ayah that have been revealed to humankind. So in a way, this is going to remind the students as well as the staff. Okay, when they enter, they need to correct their intention why they come to the university, that they want to service the student, to service the community, and so on. Okay, so curriculum design and delivery. This part maybe is something like with other universities. We also focusing on the OBL, CSL, EBL, and so on. This is partly because we want the student to develop the soft skill, okay, among them, so that when they come out from the university, when they graduate, they are already having all these skills with them. And curriculum design and method. So in general, we're focusing on the strong component of Islamic education, particularly in the first year, and then the broad-based learning concept and contemporary ideal input. And this basically we focus during their first year. This partly basically to ensure that our graduate will having enough knowledge, sufficient knowledge, enough skill. They will be able to add some creative thinking and also trustworthy among them. This part of the academic program that we offer, which already integrating the Naqli aspect and Aqli aspect. So we have program like Islam banking and finance, Sharia and law, natural science and takaful, Quranic studies, multimedia, and so on and so forth. And the way we do the integration, actually we can have a different method. Like either you want to do it add-on, like I think in UIA for their law faculty, they're going to learn the conventional law subject. After they finish, 4 years, they get to have another year, for the Sharia. And you can also, most of the Islamic university, they will do it this way, comparable or parallel, whereby they're going to have the conventional knowledge, they will have Islamic knowledge together, but they never meet each other. But in UC, we're going to have, we're going to combine them, and as a result, we just having one knowledge which already been integrated. Just like about the Islamic the study of the UC. So you can see from here, the typeface, the branding. In fact, last year we managed, to really up, the RI, the return of investment, and the PR value of, the papers that have been highlighted in the newspaper, the article that been highlighted in the newspaper, for instance. In 2013, we have about 22,000, nearly 23,000, but 2014, is really increased tremendously. So we be confident if, during the early stage, nobody knows about UC, but now I think, the number increased tremendously. And then the second phase will be consolidating, and, in fact, for 2015, we need to focus, to go towards, to be a global reference university for Aqli knowledge in 2015, 2016. So this implementation, for 2015 and 2016, we aim to be a regional reference university for the education of Aqli, and 2025 as a global reference university for the education of Aqli. So just to highlight again that basically in UC, we have the strategic plan, and here we know where we are heading, and we know what we want to achieve by end of 2016 and 2025. And the outcome that we want to achieve, so the three things over there, the three bubbles, the three blue bubbles: respected, referred, and relevant global reference university for education of Aqli, and number one in the heart and minds of the people. And UC will definitely go global. We have our aim for UC 2016 regionally, and UC 2025 globally. And it's some of the highlight in the newspaper, where they try. The the society, they are curious, okay, to know more about the integration of Naqli and Aqli. So they came to us and they interviewed us, and this is some article that has been, published in the local newspaper. And partly it is also putting music in a picture, and this will be good, for our branding, okay, both locally and regionally. And this is some of the other article will also highlighting the same thing, integration of Naqli and Aqli in the local newspaper. Okay, I have no time, but this is a part of the agenda, okay, that been focused, okay, by USIM, which partly, again, is also highlighting, some of the activities, some of the regional activities whereby we integrating, okay, we do the integration business. Okay, so for instance, in the research, okay, this research grant award schemes, we managed to secure about 5 million RM. Ringgit Malaysia, slightly more than, I think almost 2 million USD. And this basically, the research focusing on the fundamental approach towards uses and mechanism of cooperative food in preserving health. What more interesting in this case is to be combining researchers from various disciplines using, it's about 55 academicians from various disciplines, and they sit together. And we have a group from the Quran Sunnah who really study the Quran, and they extract some of the verses related to cooperative food. In this case, focusing on the goat milk and also the dates. And then we have a group from the ICT who really doing the database, they construct the database and so on. And we have a group from the from medical faculty and from the science faculty and so on. Okay, so at the end of the day, we expect the outcome from this research, okay, we'll be able to have more findings from the Quran as well as from the scientific finding from the research. And then for the academic curriculum, at the moment we are able to do this is the first phase of the our effort, our effort in order for us to do the integration. So 30% of our overall program has been integrated in terms of Naqli and Aqli. And I'm talking also, we also have special program, okay, in USIM for the global citizens, whereby in USIM basically we make it compulsory for every single student to go out from Malaysia at least once during the whole duration of their study in USIM. Okay, so we send them to Sri Lanka, we send them to Bangladesh, hopefully in the near future we'll be able to send them to Nigeria as well. So normally when they come back, okay, they will become different persons, okay, they will appreciate more what they have here in this country, and they will be able to, collaborate more with their colleagues, their friends, so on, okay. That's why even though this will be expensive, so we commit ourselves to send students to go abroad, and some students will send them for even longer period of time for one semester to do the transfer credit, industrial training and so on. So we already send students to more than 30 countries, okay, already. And then we also managed to get the Sharia compliant recognition, this particularly for the provision of physical planning and project management from Islamic perspective. And we also, at the moment, okay, we try to get certification from Syria, for the Sharia aspect. And hopefully, I think we are among, the pioneer who try to get this certification from Syria. And apart from that, ASEAN Center for Research on Drug Abuse or Aqli program, this one our COE, and I think Dr. Roshan Sentan is also the director for this COE. And we also approach, in our approach, we are also adopting certain Naqli aspect, like therapy, zikr therapy, in order, to do the rehabilitation or the treatment, okay, to the drug addict. Okay. So when we visited Sudan, okay, last year, basically we received really a good response from them, okay, because the approach that we're going to adopt is something, okay, that they are looking for. Okay. So hopefully we're going to have a cooperation with them in the future. So with that, I'm a bit rushing, but hopefully we'll be able to have some overview, okay, okay, about what we are doing here in USIM, particularly on the integration of Naqli. And it's good to know that the integration is not focusing only on the activity program that we have, but more or less in every single activities that we have in this university. In fact, in our daily, in our routine activities like conducting a meeting and so on, okay, we also try to have, to create a condition of integration Naqli, okay, so that, okay, hopefully by having this conducive environment, it is going to push us further, to really give a go on the agenda of integration of Naqli. Okay, with that, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Naqli and Aqli knowledge. From what I have seen, those of us particularly under secular governments, we are going to face a serious challenge in making sure that we try to integrate this. Because the education curriculum doesn't allow phrases like God, not to talk of Allah, when you are talking of science and general learning. This is one of the reasons why some people in my part of the country were not willing to accept the Western education. When Muslim children or Muslim people were saying God does not exist because they read in science, theory of evolution, Charles Darwin was saying even human beings evolved from monkeys, definitely it was a great setback for Muslims who cannot understand why the Quran clearly indicated that how Allah has created human beings and how Allah creates whatever He wants. Now to come and mention this is what the students are going to be taught. The curriculum has been accepted by the secular governments, and to bring a change, at least a wide change, is a serious challenge to us. Probably those of us in Islamic universities, we may be able to bring it up in our universities more easily than adopt it generally in the state. The science, if it is well framed, you will find normally or usually does not contradict what our religion teaches. But understanding the religion and bringing up the religious teaching into the scientific theories is going to be another maybe challenge for those for those people who understand both religion and science. These things are actually needed in order to inculcate the type of character which you want to see in the students or in the youth, so that the future generations can be more moral. So I think this is briefly what I wanted to
I think that could be the reason, okay, whereby even though you are in Islamic university, but basically the way you move is like it's silence, and not to do something is going to really against the will of the governments. So, well, if I can reflect back, in terms of the Islamic education in Malaysia, well, supposing you be back, to say a year 1970s and so on. I think, in fact, that time in Malaysia also actually it's not that easy, okay, for university, for research, to have, the Islamic teaching, because normally, like in my previous university in UKN, they will have one faculty focusing on Islamic studies, and that's it. So anything to do with Islam, only within that faculty, and not to go out from that faculty. But the rest you can have engineering and so on. So therefore, there's no integration at all. But in fact, the idea of establishing, using, come from our, the fifth Prime Minister, Tun Mahathir. Okay? Because what gets in his mind that time, okay, because he want Malaysia, okay, to have one Islamic university fully owned by government, because it's much easier, for the government to control. Because before that, normally, the parents who, inclined toward Islam, they will send their children, to correct. To Islamic stream. Islamic education here in Malaysia until they reach A-level. After that, they're going to send to Saudi Arabia, or maybe to Al-Azhar and so on. And only maybe a small number of parents will send them, to the local university here. But some parents, they're not happy with that, okay? Because once they send their student to the normal secular university, basically, if they have Hafazan before that, they become Hafiz. So the moment they enter this university, it's going to be diluted more or less, and the Arabic, also is going to be diluted. Okay. For those, who graduated from Middle East, for instance, once they come back, basically they are unable to speak English very well. They will wear basically, just a jubah and, maybe the only career path that they have, maybe, in the Islamic school, okay, maybe in the Hafiz school, that kind of thing, maybe in the Islamic councils, officers, and not more than that. But what Mahathir want actually, somebody, with very good Islamic background, but sometimes they are very professional in their discipline, in their job, in their expertise, But sometimes they are very good, with the Islamic background. That's why, he tried to establish UC. That's why in UC, okay, we have the what you call the integrated curriculum. At the same time, it is a must, for a student, to be able, before they graduate, they need to be able to speak English and Arabic. They need to reach certain level. The other is like that. And in fact, the uniform that they have, they need to wear tie, they need to wear, the jacket when they enter, what you call it, the lecture theatre. Okay. This especially, to inculcate, a good, perception of good thinking, a good, behavior or character among them. And Alhamdulillah, okay, so far, basically we managed, to graduate, I think up to now. Last year, okay, actually we had our 12 convocations, so we 12 batch already graduated. So the response, particularly that we received, from the public, particularly for our medical students and our dentists, they are, the perception from the public is very good. And if I can relate that, that's basically taking years, So get back, to the questions. Maybe, at the moment, as I projected earlier, we noticed that, the scenario, the problem or the issue that we have, the white collar crime, okay, and then, what has been faced, by Harvard University. So we noticed actually, the problem is there. Just matter on how we tackle the things. Okay? So I don't know whether it's possible, okay, for to move forward, okay, without, without mentioning of God, or Allah, something like that. But this maybe come back to our creativity, okay, in order for us to move. Maybe we can start in small scale, and later on, okay, we try to improve from time to time. So maybe that's just my personal view.
Might be new here, but of course, it's not new experience. United States of America, the universities there some 25 years ago, started this issue of injecting ethics into education. International Institute of Islamic Thought, IIIT, in USA, was established primarily to do what they call rectification of deficiency in education. And this explains why international IIIT has been a forerunner in what they call Islamization of education, of knowledge program. The first Muslim, World Muslim Education Summit, 1977, came close to asking Muslim countries and Islamic universities to stop closing their gates to sources that are not acquired. That you should allow both Naqli and Aqli to come and see, because you shouldn't close your gates to any, all knowledge should be made available. That's number one. The second one, that I want to say that in Nigeria, as early as 1982, Usman Dan Fodio University, then known as University of Sokoto, is a federal government university in Nigeria, started this program. And they called the program, of course, Islamization of Knowledge program. How do they go about it? The pattern, if you go back on your slide, please go back. You will have the pattern where you are talking about top up and so on. Yes, go back, still go back, 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 still back, still back, still back, back. Where you talk about top up in a bottle like, yes, that is it. That one, yes.
This one?
Yes. What Usman Dan Fodio University did in Sokoto in 1982 is this add-on. They will take somebody with a first degree in Islamic studies, for instance. They take this, for instance, maybe something, where is it? Okay. They take somebody, take this color as Islam and take this as conventional knowledge. They will employ a graduate of Islamic studies, first class, second class upper of Islamic studies. They will take him into Department of Economics to go and do master's degree in economics. So this economics will be there. And by the time the man got to the Department of Economics, he would discover that there are so many economic theories that are learned in Islamic studies. So he will finish his master's in economics and then go for PhD in economics. Conversely, they also take graduates of economics, of business administration, graduates, first class, second class. They take them to Department of Islamic Studies. And they will do masters in Islamic studies, PhD in Islamic studies, and they become, oh, some of these things you are saying about Islam, why are you Islamizing it? It's also an economic theory. And they now find out that they cannot mix. Some are very good in Islam, very weak in economics. Some are very strong in economics, but very weak in Islam. And that was tried between 82 and 87 at Usman Dan Fodio University. And then they discovered that what they should have is what you are doing, comparative aspect or integrative. The value of comparative is that you have two things. You hold it, If you get to one place and they say what they want is conventional economics, give it to them. Keep your Islam. If you get somewhere and they say it's Islamic, they give them Islamic. But that again, the society is not benefiting as it ought to be. That's where this integrative aspect comes in. I have problem with your integrative. It's not integrative. Because when you add this color and this color will not be the same. So it has to, the color has to change in such a way, no matter how much, but it cannot retain this color. Because when you mix this color, and it's proportionately mixed, depending on what you want to do. If you want to do it integrating properly, by the time you mix it, you will see. You may need to change the color. Because the color that might come out might not be pleasant. Yes. But the point I'm making here is that nowhere, even in Britain, in America, that somebody says when you are giving the curriculum, you cannot add anything. No. Curriculum is that everything in the curriculum you must teach. That's the minimum. It does not mean that you cannot come to the class and say, look at this aspect, look at that aspect too. That is allowed. And that's why I'm replying to what my brother said, that look, it is when there is no will that there is no way. When you try to introduce, and the first day I came to this university, I know that you can do a lot, because there are so many things you have done that you need to showcase to others, so that when they see, they will know exactly that some of the things that you think is not possible is possible. But I still have a contradiction with your own. For instance, you said Sharia and law. What is Sharia? Sharia means law. So Sharia and law, I would think that in the spirit of integration, Sharia and law should just become comparative law. Sharia and law is comparative law. That's what we do in the law. We have common law. Then we have combined law, which is comparative law, Islamic and common law together. And our products, even non-Muslims among them, come to appreciate because wherever they are in the world, they can practice. Whether even in the northern Nigeria, in the southern Nigeria, they go to all courses from Sharia to common law. And that is why I think that as good as what you are doing is, there is you should be able to, like Sharia and common law, I think, is still repeating. Go out for comparative law, and you see that you have so many followers. And finally, I believe measurement for what you are doing is very important. Your measurement should not be how many of our graduates have gained employment. How many of our graduates are this. You want to see how you started. You started with white-collar crime. You started with white-collar crimes. And you give the impression that part of why people are having this white-collar crime is because they do not allow their knowledge, ethical aspect of their knowledge to affect what they are doing. And that's why they are committing crime. We want to be measuring how many of your own students are not in prison. That is, you go to prison, those who commit white-collar crime, in giving 10 years, 15 years, you want to see how many of them are graduates and how many of them are from UC. The lower they are, in my own view, the better we are proving the point that UC has a purpose. But if you play on to the extent that you have equal number of representation in the prison yard as the other universities, of course, it will question our credibility. In other words, we should emphasize producing graduates that will justify what we are saying. A medical doctor who smokes, everything he knows, he learns that smoking is dangerous, yet he's still smoking. There must be something in your training that will make it very impossible, absolutely impossible for a medical doctor produced by your own university to even be attracted to smoking. And I think if we are doing that, we'll be on the way. So to me, what you are doing is great, and is something that even secular universities and conventional institutions will still come to learn from you, because everybody is fed up with the current practice. The current situation has put the world in a very chaotic situation, and everybody is looking for an alternative. The alternative you are bringing forward, I believe, inshallah, will work, and if it works very well, you will have a lot of followers.
Well, we aware, about the measurements, issues here that we have, I mean, that we're going to have. Because I noticed the importance of us, to measure the teacher with the student in terms of, something high as now, whether they smoke or they don't smoke, that kind of thing. But sometimes, again, because we have a university, you also need to do some measurements required, by the Ministry of Education. For instance, the number of students employed. So we also need to do that as well. But we got some of the comments. We will improve from there. So I think in terms of the three models that we have over there. So at the moment, we are more comfortable with the integrated, because we have no problem with that. Okay, even though we need to really aware about the colors that are going to come out from the integrations. But so far we've been well received by the society, as well as from the ministry as well. But maybe some ministry like UAE, maybe they prefer either on the Islamization, which can be on the add-on models, or maybe the